there, this is Beth Lauren Parrish with Inspired Riding. I'm a remote coach and certified riding instructor. I encourage equestrians to feel safe, confident, and connected to their horses. In this podcast, I'm going to continue giving advice to riding instructors. This is part 5 of the series, the last part, and it's titled Intuitive Teaching. Would you like to learn how to hear the horses convey exactly what they need from the lesson and their riders? It's really possible. Here's where you get to play with conversing with your horse on a deeper level, on a heart level. Animal communication involves connecting to your heart and then to your horse's heart. Once you find that connection, entire conversations can unfold. It's easier and more possible than you realize. If you can get into a state of being present, then focusing on your heart center is the next step. Take deep, slow breaths and allow yourself to get into a meditative state. Once you're there and you feel grounded, focus on breathing into your heart center. Imagine it expanding and connecting to your horse's heart center. Then simply ask, "Are you willing to chat with me?" This is most likely something you already do without even noticing. Or you totally get this concept and want to use it more practically. The best thing I can offer is this: stay open to the possibilities when you're teaching. Watch closely for little nuances from the horse. Then ask from your heart if there's anything they would like to say or do. See what comes up. It's all a big experiment, yet it's a super fun tool when you practice it. And it does take practice. Just another layer to create an edge to your already spectacular riding school. If you have any doubts, try this. Find a human that you'd be willing to experiment with, and that would be willing to experiment with you for just a few minutes. Begin by breathing deeply and into your heart space. Have each of you pick a color and think of all the things that connect you to that color. Then see if the other person can guess what color you're thinking about. Do this several times with each other. See if others are willing to experiment with you as well. Then ask a few people who don't know your horse to ask the same question. Compare answers. This will help you determine the validity of your communication. Then you can begin integrating this with your teaching. Check in with the lesson to see how they're feeling and what they'd like to achieve. I'm excited for you to experiment with this. If you can master this kind of honoring and appreciating your horse, imagine how your business might shift. Here are some more ideas to play with to create a more intuitive teaching method. Number 1, on your way out to teach, ask yourself what the best plan of action for the lesson would be today. If nothing comes up, simply create a feeling of appreciation that you get to connect and assist a horse and rider. It's important to keep reaching for gratitude. Number 2, pay attention to any random ideas that come in when you're teaching. Notice if they're coming from you, the horse, or the student. It's fun to decipher where the messages are coming from. I like to call them downloads. And paying attention to these gut feelings will get you well on your way for honoring your more intuitive side. Number 3, experiment with your teaching style. Some instructors are extremely firm and demanding. Some are lighthearted and silly. Play around, step into different roles, and see what works best for each lesson. Notice how your student and horse responds, and be willing to shift gears. Number 4, practice scanning the rider and the horse continually. You will begin to sense when things are flowing and when there is tension. The more you practice this, you develop your eye for teaching, as well as developing your feel for what to offer next. Number 5, remind yourself, your student, and the horse to breathe. The breath helps in so many ways during the learning process. You'll start to notice when your student is holding their breath, and hopefully when you do too. When you remind your student to breathe, take a deep breath yourself. Sometimes an audible sigh will help the horse breathe more, and sigh too, hopefully. By encouraging your student to remember to breathe, the horse will also relax. This simple tool will allow more answers to flow when you tune into your lesson. Number 6, encourage your student to become more intuitive. Ask your student what they think their horse needs in the moment to feel better. Let it become a great learning tool for your student to search for answers. This will also highlight where there might be a disconnect, and you'll have to explain something a little more in depth. Number 7, allow your student to ride around without any instruction for certain periods of time. Let everything get quiet, and then ask them how they felt about that portion of the lesson. See if anything specific comes up from their quiet riding time. Even if all of this seems completely silly to you, by experimenting with some of these techniques, it will encourage you to become a more attentive instructor. I think it goes without saying that having your phone send you alerts during a lesson is a big distraction. Unless you're in an emergency situation, keep the riding lesson a sacred time. Turn your phone to silent so you can tune into your amazing job. I wish you nothing but the best with amazing intuitive lessons. Thank you so much for listening. And if you'd like more advice or ideas, feel free to reach out to me. My website is inspiredriding.com, and you can follow me on facebook.com/inspiredriding. May the horse be with you, always.